are these people?
This cryptic title for a video, Cash Running Out, I thought was just, it embodies so much of our society these days, Care Bear. You know, everyone's running out of cash. Funny how that works. But specifically, this is in reference to cash disappearing in Gaza. And it's not just because it's being spent, right? Which it is. But we're going to get into it. This is Rola Hamdouna from the Electronic Intifada, an Indie Media Award honoree. But they write, Mahamadi, 51, had worked hard for many years to save up money for her children's education. The mother of 4 sons, which God bless you on that one, aged between 12 and 19, combined a daytime job as an assistant at a medical analysis laboratory with private lessons to save up money for her children's education. She had prudently turned her savings into gold. She always dreamed her children would join the medical profession, but studying medicine is expensive, and gold seemed a sensible method for saving in the meantime. But in Gaza today, cash has all but disappeared. Aside from the brief ceasefire interlude that started in January and Israel ended on 19th of March, when some cash aid was delivered by international organizations. No cash had entered Gaza for 15 months prior and none since. In the first 3 months alone after October, according to the World Bank, Israel destroyed or damaged 93% of all bank branches. With no banks and only the cash that was already there, so overused by now that it is starting to disintegrate, Palestinians in Gaza had to improvise. So, I did some digging, Care Bear, because once I heard the World Bank, I was like, wow, why would the World Bank be involved here? Right? Well, right. E-payments is a pathway to growth, empowering the West Bank and Gaza through digital inclusion. Fans of the show, fans of me and Indy show, we definitely side-eye the digital currencies, as you well know. CBDCs are not great. Please go read Whitney Webb and her work on the matter. But also, look, NPR, cash is disintegrating due to overuse in Gaza. New businesses are repairing it. Funny how NPR now covers it, seeing as how their boy is in office, right? All things considered, pun intended. But so this is the interview in NPR. So, how do people get money? Producer Anna Baba stands outside a closed bank in Gaza. I can see that there are some people here that came to the bank not looking for the ATM or the bank. They're looking for the brokers or the money mafia. The money mafia? Brokers with their own cash reserves? One man outside the bank looking for a broker is Musab al-Shawaf. He says, we need to feed our children. The brokers are our last resort. Here's how it works. He transfers money from his bank account online to the broker's account, and the broker gives him cash, but takes a 30% cut. Sounds like YouTube, which we all don't like. Shawaf says the rate is very high. It's ruining me. Because of the cash crisis, Palestinian banks are offering e-wallets with digital currency. Digital transactions have eased some of the pressure while bartering has become common. People have been burning through what savings they may have had, including Maha, who parted with her gold in order to get much needed cash for survival. For every piece of gold I sold, I felt like I was selling a piece of my dreams and ambitions. Salaries, too, are impossible to convert to cash, and anyone still able to receive an income has had to pay forbidding commissions as traders, themselves desperate for cash, have lifted rates as high as 35%. The lack of cash affects everyone and every endeavor. Serene Abu Al-Qas, 21, was married during the genocide, but not only did her husband-to-be have to pay dowry via bank transfer, when she went to stores to prepare for the wedding, she could not find anyone who accepted card payment. She could not afford or find any of the many things she had dreamt about for her wedding, and her joy, she said, was incomplete. Saif al-Din Aouda, head of policy at the Palestinian Monetary Authority, told the Gaza-based human rights groups Al-Minza that Israel had refused to transfer the Gaza allocation of clearance funds Israel collects on behalf of the Palestinian Authority since the beginning of the aggression. Funny that. I like how that goes on behalf of the PA, by the way. Funny how that works. Israel has also banned the PMA, in effect the PA's central bank, from sending any cash to the Strip since October. The upshot is that those with savings in the bank cannot cash them, and it is both difficult and expensive to spend it. It's very difficult to pay electronically, Abu Saad, who used to work in the private sector, told Al-Minza. The war has left only market stalls where it is rare to find anyone willing to deal with electronic payment methods, especially with the power cuts. And as a result, Amal said, even though she has money in the bank, I am now unable to meet the most basic of our needs. And while some exchange shops are willing to accept electronic transfers for cash, commissions have grown prohibitive, charging as much as 35% or a potential $350 commission to cash out $1,000, and sometimes even more than that. With the tattered state of the cash available in Gaza, moreover, getting cash is no guarantee that the money can be used. Many traders will simply refuse to take old or damaged bills, and they can even refuse to take coinage, including 10 shekel coins. On one occasion in a market in Deir al-Balal, I heard one person trying to convince a trader who refused to accept a 10 shekel coin in exchange for goods. That coin was in perfect condition. Why are you refusing to take it? The response: the traders we buy from refuse to accept the coin. In another corner of the market, by a bakery, a woman presented a 100 shekel bill to a vendor who refused to accept it. In the end, the woman was forced to return the goods she had come for while asking out loud to no one in particular, "Should I throw it away?" Of course, every crisis brings opportunity, and Palestinians in Gaza have become experts at survival by other means. Elsewhere in the crowded market, Muhammad al-Masri was busy repairing and restoring worn-out paper currency. Using simple equipment, some alcohol solution for cleaning, and a special adhesive, he carefully restores worn-out bills to make them fit for circulation again. I must often receive and repair the 20 shekel note because it has now replaced the 10 shekel coin that is no longer accepted by merchants, he told the Intifada. Ultimately, of course, is the ordinary person who suffers. Saeed Bassam, 27, used to work for a mobile phone company. He now uses his car as a taxi to try to secure some cash to buy milk and diapers for his baby daughter, Rose. Due to the rise in fuel prices, he does not make a profit. On the contrary, he told the EI, he is often losing money, but it is, he said, the only way he can secure cash. I lose less than I would paying commissions, he said. It also keeps me busy. The problem with high commissions isn't as acute as ever. During the ceasefire, rates decreased and traders started accepting bank transfers. Now, however, rates have risen back up and merchants are again refusing bank transfers. The practice of repairing worn-out currency has become more widespread. In every market, there is someone repairing currency notes. So I ended up feeling like this was a cautionary tale, right? You know, we've talked about Gaza as like a testing ground for just ways to combat, you know, the proletariat in any capacity at anywhere. Mm-hmm. Right? You know, we've seen robot dogs and drone usage and facial recognition and so on and so forth. I think this is, if you looked at how commerce, especially when cash cannot be used effectively, and the digital stuff, especially when power is out and people don't have the means to accept it, like, it's definitely a cautionary tale towards those CBDCs to me. But what's your take?
Yes.
You got thoughts? Anything?
I mean, yeah, you basically said it. It just seems like, yeah, it's a training ground for potentially. Well, I can't imagine that they will ever would implement something like that here, but they could.
I mean, they're already trying
Like
to.
in right.
So,
Um, but we've seen, as you said, we've seen they tested drone dogs. We're seeing them on the street.
yep.
Uh, they test a lot of tech, especially as far as surveillance, that now they're being used. It's so funny, actually. It's funny, like even just thinking about this, like because was I no, I think it was when I was coming back from Colombia a couple of weeks ago, like just going through customs, like all you have to do is just look at my eye. Like that's how, and that honestly kind of freaked me out. It was like not even the passport anymore. It was just to verify my identity. They were just like, look into this camera. And basically was able to say who I am. So like
Right.
y- th- that's kind of scary to me in a way that like you can pretty much get anything that you want, or at least like the potential is there for you for people to get more than just like your name and birthday, just with essentially almost anything related to your body. And like, but this is the kind of technology that Israel is developing, as surveillance to kind of monitor everybody. So yeah, it's not surprising to me, but that the wedding part was just really sad. Like she can even have her own,
Yeah.
her the most joyful day at that era of her life because no one was able to accept her debit card.
Right.
That's
Well, and people talk about
to hear
they've got loads of savings in the bank, but they can't use any. Like their money is just defunct.
frozen.
So, right.
So
Yep. And we've seen that here. We've seen banking regulation, debanking, all that kind of stuff. You know, we've seen that with the truckers. We've seen that with lots of instances here, especially with like Stripe and PayPal and all that stuff. And it's just a mess that like, you know, but I found it an interesting story, you know, and something to
right,
look into further and keep an eye on, especially if they're going to try to enact some digital currency there. Um, so we'll see how that plans out. But yeah, talking about these things on YouTube is most likely why they've demonetized us. So you can scan that QR code and go to ko-fi.com/indienewsnetwork and give us a couple of dollary dues. We always appreciate the financial support. But if you can't do that, like and subscribe, share the video. You know, what do you think? Am I correct in my CBDC assumption on this?
right.
But otherwise, thanks for watching.